Welcome to the Make It Personal podcast presented by Mutual of Omaha Advisors. Make it personal. It's your money. It's your plan. It's your future.
In our last 3 episodes of this podcast, we introduced our 7 principles for your financial success, and then we took a deep dive into Principle 1, your career, a growth engine to success, as well as Principle 2, saving versus investing, know the difference. Our next 5 episodes, including this one, will take a deeper dive into the remaining principles. As much as I welcome you to head back to episode 5 for an overview, and if you do, please click subscribe while you're there, it's not absolutely necessary for you to listen to that episode first. Now let's set the stage for today's episode as we continue with Principle 3, emotional wants versus financial needs. Arguably my favorite of our 7 principles, as it's one that took me some time to appreciate. There are a lot of places where people seek financial advice or guidance on personal finance. Among the top are friends and family, financial websites, radio, TV, or podcasts, books, newspapers, and magazines. The thing about personal finance is, well, it's personal. If you want your plan to be personal, it has to be tailored to you. Social media and financial gurus tend to boilerplate and average everything, or they create steps or specific orders. It's a rare American whose own specific scenario, goals, disposable income, family needs, and work situation fits perfectly in that order or in those steps. That's not to say that we shouldn't continue getting increasingly more comfortable about talking about money and related topics. Trying to keep up with the Joneses can derail your financial goals. Imagine seeing an ad for a sleek new electric car while scrolling through Instagram, the same model you just saw your neighbor driving. Your competitiveness may tempt you to buy the expensive new car so the Joneses don't get a leg up on you. But good financial advisors know it's a bad decision to buy an expensive car when you're in the building phase of life. Cars are a depreciating asset that amazingly may come with a $700 to $1,000 a month payment. You should remind yourself that the Joneses are often in debt, trying to convince themselves and others that buying more things may bring them happiness. While they may offer short-term excitement and satisfaction, material possessions rarely bring true fulfillment. Social media, while a powerful tool, can make your desire for all the cool new stuff even worse. It can lead us to endlessly comparing ourselves to the people we find on social media, including the Joneses. Remember that social media accounts are typically free, and the saying goes, if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. In this case, companies pay for advertising on social media, try to make you feel like you're missing out or in need of newer, better things. They pay to be able to advertise to you, and they're very good at it. So we try to worry less about the Joneses' digital ads and focus on your financial needs, not emotional wants. I think back to conversations that I had in my younger years about some of these topics, one in particular with a good friend. It was me acknowledging, or at least mentally acknowledging, the fact that I thought I would always have a mortgage payment and that I thought I'd always have a car payment. I was likely trying to justify some purchase of the time, like a new car or a larger or more expensive home. Of course, auto dealers and mortgage lenders love this mindset. And sadly, there are many who are resolved to this as they try to justify spending that may or may not align with their long-term financial goals. We'll get to an example of our choices and their impact on our finances in a moment, though let's start with a recent Instagram post that I saw instead. It read, "The real cost of a $4 a day coffee habit over 20 years is nearly $52,000. This is a post from Darren Hardy that I saw in November of 2024. Darren has authored multiple best-selling books, and he's a success mentor to CEOs and high achievers. This same post went on to read, "Small, consistent choices can lead to financial consequences over time." This is an example of the compound effect that Hardy writes about in his book of the same title, The Compound Effect. Simply stated, the compound effect is a strategy of reaping huge rewards from small, seemingly insignificant actions. One more stop on the Darren Hardy train. We've had the pleasure of doing some work with Darren in the past, and I can remember him saying, as well as me personally writing down, you can change your life by changing your choices. Your choices become behaviors. Behaviors repeated become habits. Habits compounded over time become your life. Okay, Mark, what does this have to do with personal finance? Let's take a look at an example. Keeping up with the Joneses may make you to want to always have a new car in your driveway. You wouldn't be alone, as a recent study shows 64% of Americans have owned their current car for 5 years or less. A second study shows the average new car payment in the United States is an amazing $735. I'm proud to say that I've never paid anything close to $735 per month towards a car payment. This is one place where I'm happily subpar or below average. What if you were to think differently and delay your next car purchase, and instead of bank or invest the amount of that average car payment? What would that be worth to you? Instead of purchasing a new car after 4 years, let's say we wait for 7 years. If we took the amount of that average car payment and stuck it under our mattress during that time frame, you'd have $26,460 after just 3 years. Now let's say we go back to the old habits of purchasing a new car every 4 years and simply invest the $26,460 at a 7% rate of return. The $26,460 would grow to nearly $190,000 after 30 years. That's just deferring the purchase of one car one time for 3 years. Now, what if waiting 7 years for a car purchase became the norm for us? Over a 30-year period, we'd purchase a car 5 times instead of 8. Over 30 years, this would add up to $105,840 with no interest. If these dollars were invested and earned 7% over 30 years, you could have over $320,000. There are so many different ways we could slice this one. Think of the car loans out there that go out to 72 months or even longer. Again, a trick to get us to fool ourselves into potentially buying more car than we need or can afford in order to keep up with the Joneses. Not going to do the math on this one, as I'm sure it would take another set of disclosures. Housing decisions can also be influenced by the Joneses, but the decision to buy versus renting is deeply personal and depends on several variables like mortgage rates and how much space versus liquid capital you need. The same principles that apply to a car purchase can also apply to a house. Understanding the financial implications of one day owning the house or car versus renting or leasing can help you make decisions that align with your long-term goals. Delayed gratification is a powerful tool when building wealth and financial security. There are many choices that we have to make today, knowing that we may not see their benefits for many years. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Which will you choose? While it's never too late to learn and apply these principles, recognizing the distinction between emotional wants and financial needs is the first step towards achieving a balanced and prosperous life. By making conscious, informed choices, you can avoid the pitfalls of comparison and focus on what truly matters, your financial well-being. Big expenses can be huge wealth drains. Nobody says you can't have a nice car or house or the toys. But delayed gratification, good use of your income, and timing matter, and all are personal to your situation. What we are talking about here is being different than the Joneses and making different choices. It's about thinking differently and acting differently from the rest. Making better choices can lead you to having more control, flexibility, and options when it comes to your finances. For example, what happens if you defer the purchase of a new car instead of buying one every 4 to 5 years? What might that open up for you? Personally, we've done this with our last 2 vehicles. That is paying them off in 4 years and owning them beyond 4 years without trading them in. We've taken that money that we were putting towards a car payment and started putting it towards savings. That money may be used for the future purchase of a vehicle, as I will accept that you cannot own the same vehicle forever, as maintenance alone can increase as a vehicle ages. When our daughter turned age 16 last year and we were in the market for a used car, interest rates on vehicles were relatively high at the time. Having this money in cash gave us more control, flexibility, and options to make the choice between financing a new car or paying cash for that used vehicle. I'm not advocating paying cash for everything, such as vehicles, as there are always opportunity costs to consider. Instead, back to Darren Hardy, Choices become behaviors, behaviors become habits, habits become your life, and may offer you more control, flexibility, and options. The end of that's a little flavor from me. Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Bottom line, this stuff is complicated, but you don't have to do it alone. It may be worth your while to consult a competent financial advisor rather than vloggers and financial celebrities online. Building wealth requires more than just following generic canned advice you read on the internet or hear from a loved one. Financial freedom may be closer than you think, especially if you live by these 7 principles to your financial success. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you may be on so that you can be alerted when new episodes are dropped. Beyond this, track yourself down a copy of our ebook that explores each of these 7 principles, and you can find a link to this in the show notes on whatever platform you may be listening to or watching this from. At Mutual of Omaha Advisors, we understand personal finance is personal, and financial well-being is essential to achieving your life's goals. Our vision is for every customer to be able to imagine, plan, and secure their financial future. Make it personal. It's your money, it's your plan, it's your future.
This podcast is for educational purposes only and may include references to concepts that have legal and/or tax implications. Mutual of Omaha Investor Services, Inc. does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult with the appropriate professional regarding your personal situation prior to making any financial decisions. Strategies discussed may not be suitable for everyone. Securities and advisory services offered through Mutual of Omaha Investor Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Mutual of Omaha Advisors is a division of Mutual of Omaha Insurance Company.